I started a topic on Instagram, and it kind of inspired me to make a video and go a little bit more in depth about limiting beliefs and really go into the science of what makes people do what they do, what makes somebody follow through versus not, what causes somebody to create long lasting healthy habits in their life versus not. What it actually is going on in your head and your mind and your body that makes you do what you do. I've been obsessed with this since I was about 17 when I realized, oh shit, when I realized kind of like, you know, the more you know yourself, the more you know yourself, the more you know why you do what you do, the more you know why you like what you like, what drives you, the more successful you can be at getting the things that you want. Be that, a healthy body, financial freedom, or whatever that looks like for you. For me, that's like my top two, right? Like healthy, strong body, financial freedom to do what I want, and like create it, a whole bunch of stuff. Whatever it is that you want, knowing yourself and why you do what you do is going to be key to getting the shit that you want. And it's not easy. Most people are not self-aware. Most people are not thinking about what's going on in their head. Most of you are just reacting to the environment around you. You don't really take the time to journal, to meditate, to get to know yourself. And I'm gonna ask you, why? Do you ever ask yourself, why is it hard to do the things that you know that you should do? The things that, if you did them, would give you a better life. And it all goes into what's going on in here. It's all about the conversation in your head. Everything comes down to that. Everything comes down to the thoughts that you tend to focus on most, right? Where your focus goes, your energy flows. And then beyond that, life is like you build up a bunch of habits and then you're running on autopilot and you don't even realize, like, you're just going. You're just going. They call it hypnotic rhythm, or you can call it the drift of life. So, what I want to get into and explore a little bit is, why do you do what you do? What is your motive for action? For anybody. And my belief, from what I've learned and what I've studied, is that we're trying to meet our needs. We have about 6 basic needs that everything kind of stems from those needs that we're trying to meet. That's why we do what we do. Now, you can meet those needs in negative, positive, or neutral ways. Everybody has their way of doing it. But you always find a way to meet them. At least 4 out of the 6. Let me tell you about what they are. So, we have our basic need for certainty. What do I mean by that? Certainty. The belief that you can be comfortable. The belief that you're safe. Right? If wherever you are right now watching this, if you aren't sure that you are safe, that no one's coming after you, that the floor beneath you is holding still, you need a basic level sense of certainty, of safety, that you are okay. Right? Now, the next need is for variety. Right? We want different. We want adventure. We want uncertainty. It's fucking ridiculous. It's a paradox. You'd think those two things are antithetical to each other, but that's what it is. We have a need for certainty, to know how things are going to be, and then we have a need for uncertainty. We want to know. We want surprise. After that, it's the need for significance. The idea that you're special in some kind of way, that you contribute in a unique way, that you matter, you're important, you're worthy. After that, it's love and connection, which to me, is probably one of the most important ones. But your need for love and connection, and to the ability to connect with other people and know that you're accepted and belong. And then that's what they call the 4 needs of the personality, right? Those 4 needs you will meet at, you can meet those, there are levels to what you meet them. You can meet that at 1 or 3 or 10, depending on who you are. And then we have the needs of the spirit. We got the need to contribute to something beyond ourselves, right? The idea that we're bigger, that we're a part of something bigger than just us. And then the need to grow, the need to expand, the need to become more of what you are. And those are the 6 human needs, and that is what drives our human behavior. What else do I want to say about this subject? Okay, so we got these 6 needs, right? And that's what they drive us. But each of us value these needs differently, and depending on what you value the most, it will determine the kind of life that you have and the kind of person that you actually are. So if you're the type of person who values certainty above all else, like that's your top thing, your life will reflect that. Your choices will reflect that. Your relationships will reflect that. You will tend to not take risks. You will tend to stay in your comfort zone. You will tend to be very rigid. And you would tend to be in fear. People who value certainty above all else tend to make choices based out of fear. Because if you're thinking about being certain all the time because you're afraid of being uncertain, think of that the driving force in that is fear, right? So that's one thing. Now, as opposed to, like, let's say you're the type of person who values love and connection, the most. You're going to have a life that reflects that. You're going to have relationships that reflect that. And depending on, out of the 6, we value 2 the most. Depending on what those 2 are and the sequence of those, it will literally determine the kind of life that you have. And you could probably start to see, like, oh, what kind of things do I what's the word? What do I put above all else? What needs drive me? What are my top 2? Out of the 6 I mentioned, certainty, variety, significance, love, connection. Love and connection are 1. Significance. I think I said significance. Certainty, uncertainty, which is variety, love and connection, significance, contribution and growth. And kind of like ask yourself, what top 2 things are driving me? This is like an exercise in self-awareness. The key to this life is self-awareness. The more you know yourself and what drives you and what makes you tick and what you want, the quicker you can get it. So let me go back to what started this whole thing initially, which was the idea of how to break through some limiting beliefs. How do you you want to do something, right? You don't believe you can, or you want to do it, but there's resistance. I would say start asking yourself what it is you truly believe about the thing that you want to do. Do you think you can do it? Do you believe you can? And if you can't, if you don't, you got to start asking yourself questions about that belief. Where did it come from? When did you believe it for the first time? When did you make it part of your identity that I can't do something? Something is out of my control. Or whatever the belief is. And you start to ask questions, and the only way, one of the ways, I don't want to say only, there's probably many ways, but one of the ways to bust a limiting belief is to look at it, right? Figure out what it is. What is your limiting belief? It could be like, I don't believe that I have what it takes to lose X amount of pounds, or start going to the gym, or start a business, or ask this person out. I don't believe I can because I'm not worthy. I failed in the past, so I can't do it now. Whatever the reason is, look at it and ask yourself on a serious level, is this true? Is this true? And if you start to logically assess and analyze your thoughts and your beliefs, you start kind of knocking the legs out from under it. Let's think of a belief as a tabletop, right? The strength of it is determined by the legs underneath it, right? So if you got really strong legs under a belief, let's say, I can only make this amount of money. People don't even know that they think that. That's why it's so important to be self-aware and to ask yourself constantly, and to be in a constant state of reflection. Not to the point where you're just mentally masturbating, but to be aware of the conversation going on inside his brain. So, where was I? Right, belief. So you start asking questions. You start kind of knock the legs out from under it. Start to realize how ridiculous it actually is. That at any moment in time, you can start making new choices and new decisions. And the key, my friends, the key is your mind. The key is the conversation going on up here. The only way to really change anything, it's an inner game. I lost 20 pounds recently, and I spent like a year really overweight and gaining weight because I had a bunch of limiting beliefs that were in my way. And it wasn't until I started to question them and I started to analyze, like, what have I taken into my identity as true? What have I attached myself to about me that I believe is who I am? The strongest force in the human spirit is the need to stay consistent with how we identify ourselves. So if you say, I'm a smoker, or I'm overweight, or I'm this, or I'm that, whatever you say, whatever you tell yourself, you, out of a need to not be a liar with yourself, will stay consistent with that identity. This is such a deep, I'm not doing it justice. I'm just like spitting over here, but this is what it is. I'm just putting this shit out, because if I try and wait till it's perfect, it's not going to come out. And this is my mission. My mission is to get across valuable information to people. That is my mission. Not just valuable information, but inspiration, love, positivity, art, whatever. Start looking at how you see yourself. And start believing that it can be different, because it can, and it starts there. It starts with that seed of a belief that things can be different. If I become aware, if I start the questioning process. And it's not easy. Nothing in this life worth having is easy. And if you did get it easily, it leaves easily. So do me a favor and take this on. Let this be a plant in your mind that anything that you want is possible, so long as you do the work, the inner work, become the person that can have the things that you want. Believe it. First, that's all you gotta do. You just have to believe. Simple. Not easy if you have a bunch of limiting beliefs. I'm gonna stop here, because I'm just gonna stop here. Let me know what you think. Comments, critique, whatever you want to say. Connect with me. I hope this was enlightening. I hope that it served you in some type of way. And if it didn't, I appreciate your time nonetheless. This is Debbie. I'm signing off. Have a great day. Believe in yourself. I love you. And live strong.